I played 11 upcoming indie horror games during the Steam Next Fest, and I'm here to tell you about them. The first 6 that I'm going to talk about are in order of when I played them, and the last 5 are my top 5 that I played during the week. So let's just jump into it. Stray Souls by Jukai Studios is the most wishlisted horror game on Steam right now, and that's great for them. This is by far the most ambitious project on the list. You play as Daniel, a precocious teenager who is investigating some creepy stuff that's been going on in the town of Aspen Falls. In the demo, you're trying to break into a seemingly abandoned police station, and you get ambushed by monsters. The monster designs are pretty cool. There's this head crab looking thing and a giant naked lady with no arms. The atmosphere is good. It sets up enough mystery to leave me wanting to know what happened. However, I feel like the dialogue is really cringy. Also, the attack hitboxes were just complete garbage. I think this game shows a lot of promise, but I kinda hope that 2023 isn't a firm release date for them. I feel like the game needs a little bit of extra time in the oven, but it shows a lot of promise. The next one I played was Tales from Candleforth by Under the Bed Studios. This game is a point-and-click adventure of twisted fairy tales in which you play as a girl whose grandmother goes missing, but you have this almost supernatural premonition that she's not gone forever. It's horror in the same way that a Tim Burton movie is horror, meaning it's more like, oh, that's kind of creepy looking, rather than, this is so scary. The puzzles are great, but the art style, my goodness, it is gorgeous. It reminds me of the game Pentiment meets Coraline, so if you are a video game art junkie, this game is the game for you. Next one I played is Sniper Killer by Black Eyed Priest. In this game you play this sort of cat and mouse game with yourself. One of the characters you play as is an assassin who receives mysterious phone calls telling you who to kill, and then you go and do it. Usually it's a super ridiculous premise, like a guy in a werewolf costume that you have to shoot while you're on a roller coaster. And the other guy you play is Detective Camardi, who is trying to catch this killer. And it's got this really charming, intentionally crappy graphics, and it gives it a lot of retro vibes, and it's pretty good. Luto by Broken Bird Games is an interesting one with a lot of mystery and lore to it. You suddenly come to in a trashed house with no idea what happened, and you have to kind of piece together what's going on via the hints that are just scattered around the house. I don't want to spoil too much of it because the atmosphere is absolutely unmatched in this lineup of games. The sound design is the best out of all of them in this lineup. The last time I played a game that took place inside a house that had this much of a creep factor was Resident Evil 7, and that is one of my favorite games of all time, so take that how you will. To the Grave by Flower Shadow Game can be best described as a 2D walking simulator. You crash your car and are trying to find some help, but you have to deal with obstacles in your way. These obstacles are puzzles that are easy enough that you can figure it out, but enough thought is required that you feel smart about it. Also, whenever you mess up, you die, but the underworld sends you back up to the land of the living because your name isn't on the ledger in the land of the dead. It's a pretty chill game that I could definitely see myself playing on my Steam Deck in bed. Home Safety Hotline by Nicholas Lives is a really goofy, campy horror game that has a special place in my heart. It all takes place on an old school desktop where you work at, you guessed it, a hotline that people call for home safety. It's your first day on the job and you get calls from people asking for help with certain issues in their house, and you have to go through your little database on your desktop and figure out what they're dealing with, whether it's mold, bees, termites, or my go-to answer for everything, gophers.
Hi, I'm so sorry. My name is Grace, and it's probably nothing, but I thought I'd call just in case. Lately, I can't sleep at night because of this annoying little sound coming from my attic. It sounds kind of like eek, 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 it's probably nothing. I'm sure it could just be regular old house noises, but I just thought I'd call to ask and make sure.
You got gophers. I love this game because it perfectly captures the essence of a mundane, boring job. One call ends and you sit there with nothing to do for a good 45 seconds until the next call comes, which I don't know if you've ever sat there doing nothing for 45 seconds in a video game. It's a long time. So I had my second monitor pulled up and I was just doing stuff on that monitor, kind of like what I do during my real job during a slow period.
Number 15, Burger King foot lettuce. The last thing you'd want in your Burger King burger is someone's foot fungus, but as it turns out, that...
I know I've gone on about the really mundane stuff about this game, so I'll explain why it's on this list. The horror from this game comes from the occasional call that you'll get from people who are being attacked by monsters, and you have to either help them through it or they hang up because they die. Sounds like you have a gopher problem on your hands. Before we get into my top 5, I have a special guest who is here to shout out all of my channel members. Take it away, Bo.
This is President Bo Jiden here to talk about Nick's sexy channel members. Their names are Marsh, like the kid from South Park, Sitter, like my son, and Fake Milk, like that soy stuff. And the Big Frick channel member is Brotac. God bless you all, and God bless America. Happy 4th, bitches.
So now we've made it to my top 5 games. These are all the ones that I will definitely be buying on day 1 when they come out. My number 5 pick is Limerick Cadence Mansion by Janito Studios. It feels like it was created by an English major just wanting to flex his degree. It's set on Night Sonnet Isle. The enemies are called dissonants. Your character is called the proofreader. The clues to all the puzzles come in the form of poems, and there are like 18 pages in every single room that just drip feeds you with a bit of lore at a time. So anyway, you wake up with no idea of what's going on because that is like the go-to scenario for horror games. And you're trying to make your way out of this puzzle-based mansion. There are monsters trying to kill you, and you have to deal with Limerick himself, who is this MODOK-looking punk-ass kid. I had a lot of fun with this one, but I found the combat to be a little lacking. There's absolutely zero recoil to the guns. Also, this game prides itself on being lore-dense, which is absolutely amazing. I think the lore is very intriguing, and it's so deep that it confused me, the guy whose entire side gig is to talk about video game lore. But the one thing that kind of rubbed me the wrong way is that most of the lore pages do not go into your journal, only certain special ones do. So if you read something that's from like September 6th, and then like 8 rooms later you find something from like August 15th that seems like it's a precursor to that one, you can't just go through your notebook and find it. You have to go back to that room and physically interact with the page to read it again. That being said, I only criticize because I think this game is great. It's in my top 5 for a reason, and that reason is that it is very fun and very interesting. My number 4 pick is one of the scariest games I have played ever. It comes from Puppet Combo, a developer that makes some very niche VHS style classics, and they've gone and made another niche VHS style classic. This one is called Power Drill Massacre. You play as Megan, who's injured in a car crash. She runs to a seemingly abandoned building, seemingly being the key word here, and the door locks shut behind her. Your goal is to find 3 keys so you can escape, and it plays sort of like Slender. The scary part of this game is that it is completely silent until it isn't. You really learn not to trust any corners in this game. The maniac with the power drill might be charging at you full speed down the hall, or he might just be chilling in the corner of a room waiting for you to enter it. It made me paranoid, and I love this game for that. My 3rd favorite game from this little demo binge that I had last week is Echoes of the Living by Moonglint. This game takes place in 1996 in Northern Europe, where a mysterious fog sets in on the town. Those who fall ill and die because of it are mysteriously revived as violent zombies, and it's basically the original Resident Evil 2. You get the choice between the himbo and the hot girl. There's a violent content warning, just like the good old days. Oh hell yeah, survival horror is back, baby. And best of all, tank controls, baby. It literally just plays like an old Resident Evil game. It's a nostalgia trip and a half, and I had a blast the entire time that I played it. Number 2 is Horror Stories Harvest Hunt by Villainous Game Studio. This takes place in the village of Luna Nova, which has been afflicted by an evil entity known as the Devourer. Your character is appointed warden of the village and must protect the village from the Devourer during the season of harvest. You try to harvest ambrosia as well as banish the monster if possible. You banish it by wounding it 3 times, picking up scales that it leaves behind, and putting those scales in an effigy that banishes it. You also come equipped with a deck of cards that lets you influence the way the night goes by giving you buffs, and sometimes they give you nerfs. I kind of view it a little bit like Slender mixed with a card strategy game mixed with a Predator movie almost. Another interesting part of this game is if you die, the title of Warden is passed on to a different villager who has their own set of strengths and weaknesses.
I tell myself it was always going to be a one-way trip. That's what love is. It's a trip between who you were and whatever the hell you become next. So let's take it from the top.
Finally, my number 1 horror game from Steam next. It is by far the least scary of the bunch, but it is also by far the coolest of the bunch. I was smiling ear to ear the entire time I played this game. It's called El Paso Elsewhere, and it's by Strange Scaffold. This is a supernatural neo-noir third-person shooter. If you're an elder millennial like me, you'll understand this next sentence. It's Max Payne but with vampires. You play as a monster hunter named James Savage, whose ex-girlfriend is Dracula, Lord of the Vampires. And this game is just oozing with style and vibes all over. It has an original soundtrack, nuts to butts action, and I think what sells it most is Xavier Nelson Jr.'s writing and voice work as James Savage. Let's hear a line delivery.
There's heaven, there's hell, there's us. And then in between it all, there's this thin bubble filled with things that hate you.
Like, holy crap, this guy is so cool. If this video convinces one person to wishlist El Paso elsewhere, I will consider my life a successful endeavor. Never mind the fact that I have a child and a wife that are amazing. This is my new passion in life, is to get people to download this game. So there you have it. Those are the 11 indie horror games that I played during Steam Next Fest, all of which should be coming out sometime this year or next year. If you made it this far in the video, type in the comments, mission accomplished, Nick. You made me wishlist, and then insert the name of your favorite game that I talked about here, and I'll let you see my next video a day early. Like I said, I put the links in the description. Go click on them, go wishlist these games. They are so good, and these indie developers deserve some love, and wishlisting is the best way you can support an indie developer. But anyway, I hope you're having a great day. It's been my pleasure to be here with you today, and I will catch you on the next one.